of semi-independence would you have to the Quran if you were Salman al-Farsi at that time? But the fact that you don't have your Imam there today, why is that the case? What is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala trying to tell you? He is saying to you and I, in the absence of your Imam, I require you to achieve what I expect mankind to achieve. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says within Surah Al-Baqarah, Inni ja'ilun fil ardi khalifa. I have placed a caliph on earth. Who is that caliph? It's not Al-Mahdi alone. And Allah hastens his reappearance. It's me and you. And if you and I are given that responsibility, we use that to understand the Quran as we're supposed to understand it. So here it's more about the challenge that is being presented to us. It's not about the quantity of volume, it's the quality of work that needs to be derived in the 21st century. The fact is, it's my humble opinion, feel free to quote as much as you like, the fact is, the scholar of today has understood the ahadith so well. He has created such a set of sciences. I don't know how many of you and I are aware of usul al-fiqh. We're talking about volume after volume after volume of usul al-fiqh. They go granular to understanding how a word is used, and they do that from Quran and they do that from the ahadith. Generally, the scholar of the 21st century is so hadith orientated. I'm not talking about the maraja, students, scholars, ulama. Generally, the ulama are so ahadith orientated, they have forgotten the Quran. And that's the problem. If we were to put the relative approach into the Quran to balance what we have done with the ahadith, these things that we're highlighting today would have already been achieved.
But the way I see it is, like for example, let's take for example Ayatollah Khomeini, Rahmatullah alayh. He, when he was born, he was a normal human being like you and me. Whatever he struggled to, towards the end he reached his level, whichever Allah took him to. But then he himself, in his book Adab al-Salat, he says, most of the stuff that's in this book, I've taken it out. I've given you guys the easier version.
Yeah.
So if, let's say somebody in this room went to that level, wouldn't they have transcended these themes you're already suggesting of? Like for example, Ayatollah Khomeini, if he was alive today and you told him these things, he would just go on about them because he's already gone to the absolute reality, right? He has gone
to the absolute reality in accordance with his own sciences and in accordance with the time in which he lived in. Now with respect, from the moment Sayyid Khomeini and Sayyid Khou'i passed away from this world, the world changed. We have to accept that. And what I mean by that is that jurisprudence, in the way in which it was achieved and the revolution in which it was achieved, died with them. Meaning that Sayyid al-Khou'i had brought fiqh to its plateau in accordance with the way in which it had been inherited. Sayyid al-Khomeini brought the revolution to its point in accordance with how it was needed then. If they were both to be alive today, let's say they just were born today, and then they rose to the scholastic level that they had acquired when they were alive previously, would they do the same things over?
On a greater magnitude.
Imagine now, Sayyid Khomeini is born today. Adab al-Salat is already written. Word for word it is the same. But it was Ayatollah Jaffer who wrote it 50 years ago. And Sayyid Khomeini is born today, and he ascends to the same spiritual intimacy that he had with God, and the same quality of knowledge. Baqir Sadr, man, genius amongst all geniuses. No one ever like him. Sayyid Khou'i, master of all masters. These three are born again today, right here, and they ascend to the levels in which they were. Will they regurgitate what has already been written with the minds in which they have, looking at the sciences that we've achieved, the world that we have today, the fact that today we have established Islam in Iran, the fact that today we have such strength within Iraq, the fact that we have, for the first time, academic students in the West of this ilk. that we did not have 50 years ago when Sayyid Khomeini wrote that book, would he still write that same issue? Or would he be utilizing what is here today and saying, what are you studying?
Optometry.
Optometry. What verses of Quran do you know about optometry within Quran? What verses? What are the diseases in optometry?
Diabetes, glaucoma.
What does Quran speak about these issues? Do you see the difference? If Sayyid Khomeini, Baqir Sadr, Khomeini, Khoi, if they were alive today with the geniosity that they have today, they would not be regurgitating what they have. They would come and they would say, what does Quran say about these issues? Now I can go as granular as this, or I can go more broad and say, I'll make a challenge to you. I don't know, has anyone here read Shahid Baqir Sadr's work, Our Economics? Al-Iqtisaduna, yes? Anyone read it? You read it? Yes?
But I feel
okay. It is Shahid Baqir Sadr's opinion on the principles of a global economic system. Question one, why did he write this? He wrote this, firstly, to debate against communism and Marxism and capitalism. Yes? Now here I'll ask you a question. From the global perspective, is communism and Marxism a power today? It's died. It may have one or two countries, and in fact very strong countries in terms of Russia and China, but as a global domination, as a thought process, Marxism has died. So if Baqir Sadr was to rewrite, rahmatullahi alayhi, if Baqir Sadr was to rewrite Our Economics, would he rewrite it in the same way? If he was to look at the issues of the world economy today, with all the problems that it has, would he rewrite the same words, or would he bring it in accordance with the issues of today? Now the answer should be obvious. He would rewrite the same book in accordance with today. And that's what we're talking about. That the Quran, the problem is our approach has been reactionary. What we have said is, until today, I have a problem, and what I'm going to do is let the problem arrive, or the result arrive, and I will find the Quran to back the issue. As opposed to saying, what does Quran principally say? Let me figure it out and then drive it to the perfection for the next 100 years. Let me put it to you this way, Zafar. And I know you've asked the question, but I know you're in the middle of doing other things. I'll pose it to you this way. Taqleed. Taqleed is a hot issue, right? Everyone doesn't know what to talk about. Taqleed is a hot issue. What are the principles of Taqleed from the Quran? Now, of course, it's a scholastic debate, but assume they're A, B, and C. Are those the finite principles, or were those the principles set about by Sheikh Tusi 400 after Hijrah? I guarantee you, and feel free to ever research and challenge me on this, the principles of taqleed that you and I have inherited are the ones expounded upon by Sheikh Tusi and Sheikh Murtaza Ansari from 200 years ago, and so on and so forth, and they have remained as those stagnated principles. Now I will ask you a question. Those same issues of taqleed, the first point of recourse must be the Holy Quran. We've not neglected anything in this book. We have given to you everything in darkness and in the grains in this book. If you and I were to start issues again, if Sheikh Tusi was to be born today, and Ansari was to be born today, and they looked at the principles of taqleed for this Quran, they would not come out with the same principles. They will come out with a whole different scope, and they would say, you know what, I'm going to create a system. You know what, this is my determination. Zafar, I'll do it this way. You are the 12th Imam. Hasten your ignorance, yeah? You're the 12th Imam. You here are the scholastic community. You are Najaf and Qom and Karbala and London and Birmingham and Sydney and New York. You are the scholastic community. 12th Imam, I am determined to get you back within 100 years. You could go for another 1400 years in a ghaiba, another 1200 years in ghaiba. I am determined to curtail it and bring you back in 100 years' time. Now, what is the global system that needs to be in place? The qualities of the Shia Ummah and the qualities of the human being for you to return in 100 years' time. Now, what does Quran expound upon in terms of a befitting worldview? I'm going to figure it out from Quran. I'm going to create my tafsir, present it to the ulama, and use that as the means to recreate the issues of global governance and marja'iyah of today, in the hope that I will drive the process to bring you back in 100 years' time. That's not being done. And that's why we have to do what Salman al-Farsi didn't do. Because he could only do things in accordance with the imams that he saw in front of him. You and I have to do things in accordance with the imam that we don't see in front of us.
Fair enough.
I didn't mean to pick on you in your autometry skills.
And I'm not the 12th imam. Yeah.
Have you got a question?
Yeah, I've got a question.
Okay.
You spoke about how important it is for our generation, the people in studying here today, to try to interpret the Quran futuristically. But don't we fall into the danger of misinterpretation because we don't have the knowledge that the ulama have today, and we could end up misinterpreting the Quran?
Our interpretation must always be based on two principles. One, what does the Holy Quran say about the issue? And two, what do Ahlulbayt say about the issue? Those two things are either finite or they're infinite. If they are finite, then you and I have no capability to interpret any issue. Whereas if they are infinite, they provide us with the background in order to interpret the issue of today. So one, of course we're going to run the risk. Of course we are. And we're not talking about just anyone interpreting. We're talking about someone who is skilled in the arts of interpretation. But when it comes to the issues of the 21st century, the scholar needs to be aided by the academic knowledge and the secular knowledges. With respect to the ulama of today, they cannot sit in Najaf or Qom or Karbala or Birmingham or Sydney and be a'lam. Because with the level of diverse knowledges that are in the 21st century, there cannot be an a'lam. They are required today to bring knowledges from other spheres, especially, or rather the word ideally from Shia academic, intellectual individuals to expound upon the issue. And from our assistance, your assistance, can they bring the next level of tafsir? They are ignorant, with respect. They will be the first to admit it. They are ignorant of ophthalmology? Optometry. They are completely ignorant of it. Would that be fair? With respect, how much does Ayatollah Sayyid Sistani know? I'm just picking his name, I'm picking on him, using his name as an example. How much does he know about optometry compared to you? But imagine if you could combine the skill set. Imagine, I'm just picking optometry because it's there. We can talk about geology, we can talk about philosophy, we can talk about everything, yes? Imagine if the best Shia optometrists in the world were able to assist in that development. Now, you would say that's already taking place. I would say maybe it's not. Maybe it's not in all spheres. Maybe it's not in all spheres. And only with that can we bring about a befitting worldview tafsir. I don't mean me and you only go to do tafsir. We can understand at our level, but when it comes to the ulama, the grand ulama, we need to aid them in their development, is what I mean.
Okay, that was the last question. Okay, Aston, thank you very much, Brother Jaffer Ladak, and may Allah reward you for your hard work and give you the ability to carry on spreading the message of Islam. Okay, so this event today was done for the Isal Sawab of Marhuma Maheen Muhammad Raza Naji. So could we please remember her with the Surah Fatiha? Okay, also we have an announcement from the Abbas Youth Committee from the Clifton Road Mosque. This is for guys and girls. There is a sponsored 160-foot bungee jump. on 7th of April. Places are available on first come, first served basis. All funds are going to MAP, which is the project for building the new mosque of the Kibbutz. And yeah, so if you do need any details on that, you need to contact Sister Masama Father. I have her phone number, so if anyone wants to note it down, get your phone out now, I guess. It's 0759 428 0287. If you do need it, it's always on this paper here. So we can please conclude the event with a loud salawat.
Allah.